Hello, thank you for attending a virtual press event for the upcoming Lifetime Limited series adapted from V.C. Andrews' Cutler family saga. It begins with Dawn. My name is Andrew Neiderman, and as the ghostwriter for the late V.C. Andrews, I have been entrusted with continuing this best-selling author's legacy by bringing to life new characters born out of V.C. Andrews' very special world. Had she not passed away in 1986, V.C. Andrews would have turned 100 this month. It's wonderful to celebrate her in a new four-part Lifetime event, accompanied by Gallery Books republishing editions of the Cutler series. The movies takes viewers into the dark paths of the Cutler lives, the Longchamp lives, and the Booth families, exploring sinister secrets, hidden desires, and twisted relationships. While the creation of the Cutler family was informed by my personal experiences with the Catskill Hotel families, the plots take their inspiration from V.C. Andrews' past characters and stories. It has been an honor sharing the creative mind with V.C. Andrews over decades. I feel she'll be delighted to see these new characters and stories brought to life for television. And here, now, take a sneak peek of V.C. Andrews' Dawn, premiering July 8th, only on Lifetime.
From the network that brought you Flowers in the Attic.
Family together, family forever.
There's nothing to be nervous about yet. And the twisted mind of V.C. Andrews.
Isn't this where all the rich kids go?
There's money and then there's Cutler money.
A new Lifetime limited series.
Dawn, your parents kidnapped you.
The long-lost Eugenia.
You have a brother named Philip and a sister named Clara Jean.
You're the girl I fell for back at school. Couldn't this just be our secret?
You're my brother!
You were my sister, and now you're not. I've been looking at you differently.
I mean, he's not actually your brother, but still.
You know I am accountable to your grandmother.
Did you expect to be treated like some long-lost princess? Have you no shame at all?
This is where you belong now, Eugenia.
My name is Dawn.
V.C. Andrews, Dawn. Premieres Saturday, July 8th at 8. Only on Lifetime.
Please join us in welcoming the stars of Lifetime's limited series, V.C. Andrews' Dawn. We have with us today Brec Bassinger, who plays Dawn Cutler, Jesse Metcalfe, who plays her father, Ormond, Joey McIntyre, who plays her teacher, Michael Sutton, Khobe Clarke, who plays her brother and subsequent lover. There's a little bit more of that, which you'll have to tune in to find out. But thank you all for joining us. And we will go straight to our press questions.
And we have the amazing Donna Mills as well with us.
Donna, I am so sorry. Donna Mills, yes, who plays grandmother.
Maybe my camera didn't go on. I don't know.
I am so sorry. The iconic Donna Mills. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Brec.
Our first question. Hollywood Times, please unmute your mic and ask the question.
Morning, my name is Valerie Milano, and I would like to know from the actors, what did you enjoy most about your character, and what value did they add to the storyline?
Well, I can say about my character, Lillian, that she was a lot of fun to play. And I think that she kind of drove the plot because she was responsible for a lot of the things that happened in the story.
I think for me, one of my favorite parts about getting to play Dawn was getting to go through 3 decades of her life. So just this story arc that I got to go through was very challenging, but very rewarding.
I would also. Sorry, you go ahead. No, go. It's all you, Jesse. It's all you.
All right, my favorite part of playing Armand Longchamp was that this was the first opportunity I ever got to play a father, Brec's father, no less. So I really enjoyed, playing those emotions. And I also enjoyed the fact that, the first Dawn installment is, a period piece. So I got to kind of use a Brooklyn accent and play a character in the early 60s. I thought that was a lot of fun.
And for me, growing up watching Jesse, getting to have John Tucker as my dad, that was perfect as well. So.
I think there's a good point about playing over a span of a few decades. You understand, when you usually tell a story as a character, it's over the span of a couple months or maybe a year. But we started this as we played 17-year-olds and then ended it with, 2 kids playing 30-year-olds. So like adjusting for that story-wise was pretty interesting.
It sounds, like the theme that everyone's saying, it's super interesting to, have such a wide-ranging kind of journey. Definitely, playing in the 70s, to kind of, disappear into a role even more. It gives you more license to just have some more fun with it. And the character, these aren't the nicest people in the world. So, which makes it very interesting and very compelling. And there's a lot going on, and I enjoyed the process, even if my character wasn't, the nicest guy.
Thank you all.
Thank you. Nice to meet you virtually. Thank you.
The next question is from So Unique Magazine.
Hi, I'm Tamara Rollins, and I wanted to know, was it exciting for you guys to be a part of a project that involved so much scandal and a suspense, mystery, and plenty of deep, dark secrets, and just so many twists and turns?
I mean, that's the best kind of story you can possibly have to tell as an actor. I mean, all these things going on, all these things happening. V.C. Andrews is really a good storyteller. So to be an actor with that good a storyteller is heaven. It's great.
I recently got to watch the first 2 screeners with my family. And within the first 10 minutes, Dawn's finding out who she thought her biological parents aren't actually. And literally my dad, he's like, they don't mess around. They get right into the craziness.
Yeah, absolutely. I couldn't agree more. The storytelling is exceptional. Although I'm only part of the first installment, I absolutely loved the script straight away. And, Flowers in the Attic had a big impact on me growing up. And so, to be a part of a V.C. Andrews franchise is pretty thrilling.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
The next question is from Partee Smith of New Light Media.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much. As you said, my name is Partee Smith from New Light Media. And my question, Jesse, you kind of segue in. What's the full circle moment about playing V.C. Andrews, Dawn, or is there a full circle moment for any of you? But I would like to start with Jesse since he just mentioned Flowers in the Attic.
How do you mean a full circle moment?
It's something that has come back to you from years ago to now that has reflected upon you being.
I just remember that movie, Flowers in the Attic, really creeping me out as a kid, and specifically the ending, where they kill their mother. I just found it pretty traumatizing. So I was always a fan. And I just really thought this, the first installment in particular, because that's the one I'm a part of, was just, jam-packed with twists and turns and revelations. And, it really has this ominous, creepy tone to it. And, I just think people are really going to enjoy it. I think they're going to find it incredibly entertaining.
Would anyone else like to add?
Yeah. It's very engaging. It engages you. It makes you want to watch. It makes you want to continue to watch. And you want to find out what's going to happen to poor Brec.
Well, no, this whole experience, like I am one of my life mottos is I don't believe in coincidences. Like even the fact that you asked this question, I'm like, what's going on? Because so there's a very full circle moment here for me. The first time I ever went to LA back in 2013, I was 13 years old. I actually auditioned for the original Flowers in the Attic, like the 2014 version of it. And I went pretty far. I believe I met with the directors And so from a young age, I was so familiar with specifically Flowers in the Attic, but all of V.C. Andrews' work. And then one of my childhood best friends, Mason Dye, who he actually ended up booking the role in that. So I like followed it. I watched all the installments of that. So when I got the audition for this, I was very, very familiar with it. And once again, going back to my younger self, I think she'd be like, you did it. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you all. The next question is from Monica Gleiberman with Time Warner Entertainment.
Hi, everyone. It's so great to see all of you. Nice to see everyone with smiles versus watching the show and all the drama. I wanted to ask all of you, when you originally got the script and decided to play these characters, how did the vision change from your brain to what you wanted to make it into what they all became when you guys started filming?
I'll jump in on this one because that kind of the inside baseball answer to that is I got like an offer, and like 2 days later I was on a plane like reading the script, and I was like, oh, okay. This teacher is where it takes place in the 70s, a relationship with a student, I'm like, oh boy. So I was diving right in, and the fact that how do I, of course, as an actor, you just want to do what's right for the story. And, it's my job to play this guy and, go for what he wants and, put my, Joe to the side. I think you try to, but at the same time, you try to make a character, somehow, even though where he's coming from isn't great, you want the audience to kind of get on your side. So, and I don't know, it's such suspense. I don't want to give a lot of it away, but it was challenging. It wasn't your easy, like, show up and just, okay, I'm here and say the lines and know your lines. There was stuff to kind of roll around in your head to get a decent balance, if that makes sense.
I loved being on set with you, like watching your process. Like I very much saw you, like, I'm a huge fan of like the villain of a story. They're a villain for a reason. Like they justify their actions. And I loved watching you like figure out that. And I think you nailed it.
Thank you. Thank you.
How's it with everyone else? Did any of you have did your vision change from like your original, from the pilot through to the end of your characters?
Certainly didn't for me. I mean, Lillian is who she is. The wonderful thing, though, was that there is another book, and that book is about Lillian and why she is the way she is. So I had that background to draw on to, create the Lillian that I brought, and that was very, very helpful.
Thank you all.
Thank you guys so much.
The next question is for Nye McGee from EUR Web. Oh, we might have lost her.
I'm here. I'm sorry. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Okay, yes, I'm here. I wanted to kind of touch briefly on something that Joey just mentioned about his process getting into character. I mean, each of these characters, and this question is for the entire cast, all these characters clearly undergo significant emotional arcs and face various challenges. So I'm wondering if you could each briefly, and I don't know if Joey wants to start first, how did you personally connect with your character's journey to portray their experiences authentically on screen?
Oh, man, well, and luckily I'm working alongside Brec, and it makes it easy. I mean, to have an actor and a partner that's just willing to kind of just, be present and find the character and connect in a authentic way. I think you got to find that, these two characters were in love, and, even if my character was way more selfish and had his eyes, on a different prize, you kind of, I don't know. It's also in the script, as we've been talking about. I mean, the stories are so rich that I felt very much in the moment. There's so much going on. It really is dramatic. And so you feel like you're riding the wave of the story with everybody involved. So it wasn't super difficult at the same time.
Did anyone else care to add to that? How did they personally draw or channel any personal experiences to their to their character to fully go ahead. I'm sorry. Yes, go ahead.
No, that's okay. I think when you start this, when Brec and I started this as young kids, we've been those young kids, and it was easy to pull from our experiences to accurately portray people that age and use familiar experiences to use for it. But as the story went on, and you have to be a parent, and Brec with Christy, and it becomes this weird thing where you never have had these experiences before. But I think what helped me with understanding the family dynamic is just purely how we kind of aged together making this. Like I met Brec in August, and then we wrapped in December. And when we were shooting in December, we were in our 30s with children. And I think just knowing everybody for that long made it feel like an aged family dynamic. So I think that's maybe how I looked at it. I don't know if that's a very good answer to your question. But
saying because we were almost like filming chronologically, we filmed in 2 blocks. It's like as we figured out our characters more and matured them, like just by having sheer time with like the material, we were able to do that with our acting as well.
Yeah.
It is. I'm very much one, like I pull from my own life experience, and I haven't been a parent. I don't have a kid. I've never been married. So I did have to kind of go about this role differently. And I definitely just like, I'm a big advocate, like watching content that kind of relates to it in some way. And I remember one like scene in particular, Khobe and I were filming, and it's the first, this isn't too much of a spoiler, I hope. It's like the first scene where we're seeing each other knowing we're not siblings. And there's just this like underlying thing between them. And I just like, I kept feeling weird about it because I have 2 brothers. I'm like, I don't care if I find out they're still my brothers. But then I had to look at the content and be like, these people have gone through tragedy together. The connection and bond that they have is going to be so different. So I like just pulling from different experiences I've had that related, maybe not as closely as I traditionally would have used my life experience, if that makes sense. I complicated it, but.
No, thank you very much.
Thank you.
That was great. Thank you.
Thank you so much. The next question is from Rick Bentley.
Thank you. Ms. Mills, I'm just curious, in deciding how to play Lillian, did you think she was more of a woman who became ruthless and cold because she was a woman in that era, being a boss in a world where generally men were in control? Or did you take elements from the Darkest Hour book and sort of feel like that's what shaped her?
Very much those elements from that book, the things that happened to her, the things that she experienced in her childhood, in her, growing up to be a woman. I felt those were the things that formed her. Those are the things that made her as hard as she was, as brittle and as unforgiving as she was. So those childhood things shape everyone, and they shaped her in a way that just left her and left her really bereft. She is not a happy person, as Dawn says to her, and knowing that, knowing how she grew up is the way I formed how I was going to play her.
And have you ever had a character before that's had a whole book that you could call on to build on?
No. I've played villains before, which I love. That's like my favorite. But no, generally speaking, you don't have that. You have, whatever's in the script, and then whatever you can make up for yourself that you think may have happened. But very seldom do you get an actual blueprint. So that was a big plus for me. I loved it.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. The next question is from Nene Hooks Network.
Hi. So I appreciate Brec for kind of breaking down that first scene that she mentioned about when she first meets her brother. And so I want to ask the rest of the cast, I know that the book obviously has like this dark and twisty atmosphere to it. So the visual aesthetics of the film seem to kind of bring those parts of the books to life. So was there any specific scenes that you all can tell us about, maybe without spoiling, that maybe even startled you or put you in any kind of adverse emotions or dark spaces or anything?
Totally, but I think it would spoil something.
No.
That's the hard part. Anything that might bring up, you maybe
Never
don't want
know.
to because
I'll try though.
Okay.
There was a scene with Brec and I where there was an element of great loss, and a loss that was unfamiliar to me and unfamiliar to Brec. And I felt, me as an actor, I had never had to explore that depth of sadness before. And I don't know where I'm going with this without ruining the movie, but it was to have to, there was a couple of those, one in particular. I think when people watch it, they will know. There's plenty for Brec, but for me, I think Jimmy is just a happy-go-lucky dude, but there was this one moment where I felt going to work was, it was the only time I went to set where I felt emotionally exhausted by telling this story.
Ooh. Anybody else? No?
Well,
I appreciate that.
I could chime in. In the first installment, actually, when we're setting up all the characters, there's actually a lot of really uplifting moments too. It's not all doom and gloom and creepy stuff. And the scene that I enjoyed the most, and that I thought was really informed my character, and I think Brec's character to a certain degree. We have this really intimate scene, where I tell her how much I believe in her as her father, and we have like this little sing-along in the car. That's just an incredibly touching moment. And there's a lot of moments like that in the film as well, where we really get the audience to really invest in these characters and really care. And then when things start to go crazy, it has even more impact.
Thank you so much. The next question is from Joy Paris with Rich Girl Network.
I am sorry. Great series, guys. You learn so many things when you do your work as an actor. Can each one of you possibly share something you took away, you came away with doing the series that really impacted you as an actor and as a person?
That I don't need as many hours of sleep that I thought I did.
Yes, you do. You just chose not to use them.
I could think of like a more sentimental answer, but that's my first thought.
Yeah, it's amazing to me that Brec was able, it's a good thing she's young, because she worked constantly. Every single day, really hard stuff. I take my hat off to you, honey. You really are amazing and doing it really well. So it was hard. Going through all those different arcs and ages and everything else, really hard, but really good, honey.
What about you, Khobe?
I totally agree with Donna. That first block for Brec Bassinger was a marathon, and I was in 3 days a week. I was enjoying my Vancouver summer, and Brec would be doing these 15-hour days, just crying over and over again. Every day Brec was crying as her character, and did it convincingly so. So I'll take away. I learned more about the work ethic that this job takes, and Brec taught me that. Absolutely.
On another note, I do have to say, I much like Joey, from my first audition to filming in Canada, I think it was a 7-day stint. So when I got to Vancouver to film, I hadn't even read all the scripts. And so I was very nervous. I wasn't prepared how I usually would be going into a project. And I definitely feel like I learned just to let go sometimes and rely on the people around you. I had to put so much trust in my scene partners, and I can kind of be a control freak sometimes, all the time. But in this, I didn't have the preparation to do that. And so I think it really taught me just to like make those connections fast, rely on your scene partners. And I'm so grateful for all of you guys.
Well, you did a great job. And Donna, you scared the heck out of me in that role. I'm just so afraid of your character. And Jesse, I'd want you to be my dad. What a loving dad and what a loving scene, and just brilliant work, all of you guys. Congratulations. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. The next question is from Dr. April Lisbon.
I am Dr. April J. Lisbon, media correspondent for the Mogul TV Global Network. My biggest question, as I've been listening to each of you speak, is this. Once the filming was over, how did you detach yourself from your characters? And the reason why I'm asking that question is because some of the storylines, looking at the trailer information, was very emotionally wonky for me, if that makes sense, for a bright word. But it seemed like there was so much raw emotions and such raw passion that went in for each character. When filming was over, how did you detach yourself from your characters, if that makes sense?
Yeah, it's always, I think, again, this I can only imagine. I'll try to be quick because I didn't have the days that you guys had, but there was, I mean, if you feel that emotion coming off it, I think it was real. I think it was very cool to, again, it's about the story, it's about the script and these rich characters. And I definitely felt the wave when you're on set. And again, it starts with your scene partner and who you're working with, but there was an electricity about it, which was exciting as an actor. And but I only had 6 days, so I'll pass to, I can only imagine how you guys had to like put it down every night.
Jimmy was an easy dude to step away from. He's very close to who I am. I can imagine, playing a more sinister person like you did, Donna, probably harder to get your foot back out the door with something like that, I'm sure.
Well, the thing is, once you're off the set, once you're away from the cast and everything, your own life comes back to you. So I never find it hard to let go of a character. It belongs on the set, and then once you're off the set, it's you're yourself again.
I do agree. Just like even as an actor, like I feel like we've learned that, at least for me, I personally learned how to do that just with auditions. Because when I used to, when I would audition, I'd get really attached to things. And then if you don't hear anything, it's a heartbreak after heartbreak. So just learning that, like, when you show up, be present, throw yourself into it. But then at the end of the day, you have to step away.
Thank you so very much. The next question is from Steve Gidlow with Media Village.
Hello, can you hear me?
Uh-huh.
Oh, sorry. Actually, the question goes out to Donna, if I could ask. Kidnapping is a theme that's sort of gone through your career in a couple of the different roles that you've played. I think on General Hospital it involved a kidnapping. What do you think the public's fascination is with that subject? And at any point, did you have to kind of rein your character in a little bit? Because she is so super mean.
No, I never tried to rein her in. I mean, she is what she is. And, that's the beauty of her, of the character. So I never thought, oh, that's too much, or that's not true. There was one thing that I didn't like in the script, and they actually ended up cutting it. It was too mean. I won't even say what it is. I don't even know if Brec, well, she probably knows.
I'm going to message you after because I'm so curious.
Yeah, what?
But I'm going to message you after because I don't know what it is.
Really? Yeah, because it got cut, and I was glad. It was the only thing that I disagreed with in the script. Should I say what it was?
Yeah, go ahead.
At one point, I kicked you. And I thought that was too much, you know, and they did cut it, so I was glad.
And just the kidnapping theme in general, the fascination with that particular subject, obviously it draws you in to a point because you've done these kind of roles that involve that storyline. So what do you think the public's fascination is with it?
It's I'm not sure, but I think it's, you know, a kind of, it's something they don't know about. And but to see it portrayed, then they can know a little more about it. And it's a fascinating thing. So I think it's just a way for people to know it and not know it in their own life. Thank goodness.
Exactly. Thanks so much. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Steve. And thank you, Donna. The next question is from Lavetta Jenkins from the Chatty Passenger. Lavetta, if you could unmute your mic.
I'm sorry, I was struggling here. I'm so sorry. Thank you all for doing this presser today. I first want to say that I screened both part 1 and part 2, and being old enough to be a longtime fan of both Joey and Donna, and even Jesse on Passions, we're not going to talk about that. I was stunned. My heart was a little broken to see Donna be so mean, even though, you know, because there was some stuff I wasn't allowed to watch as a kid. And when you were so mean to her, I was like, but she was lost and now she's back. How did you kind of pull that out of yourself? And you're such a sweet person.
Well, you know, I mean, I'm an actress, so that's what I do. So, you know, I could, it always hurts a little bit to be that mean, but you have to kind of put that away. And as I said, I had the benefit of going back and seeing why Lillian, the mistreatment she experienced when she was young, so that I had that background. I knew where she was coming from. It made it a little bit easier to be able to portray that. But you're right. She was very, very not nice to that poor thing.
No, and those last words kind of did me in. Jesse, how did you play a father, like a really loving dad?
Honestly, it came pretty naturally. I want to be a father. So I think I really tapped into that, you know, and it's pretty easy to tap into, you know, the emotions that come along with great loss, you know, the emotion of grief. And I had great actors working opposite me. I mean, I think that in the first installment anyway, the chemistry within this cast was pretty palpable. You know, I kind of knew walking off this set that at least the first installment, and you know, was gonna be great. I think people are really gonna respond to these films.
I believe that they will. Khobe, Joey, and Brec, I just want to say you all did an amazing job. Joey, I'm a little upset with you, but I'll get over it. It wasn't you, it was Michael Sutton. So I'll get over that. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. I'm sorry to say that we only have time for one more question, and that question is going to go to the Cindy Davis Show. Cindy, if you can unmute your mic.
Thank you for having me. Can you hear me? Good. I'm Dr. Cindy Davis Evans with the Cindy Davis Show, and I want to know, how do you stay in character?
Well, sometimes I don't. And I call the, and literally it's actually a thing. I've had multiple directors sit me down and be like, Brec, we love that you're having fun, but this is a job, this is work, so let's have a little less fun. And there was one, I remember so specifically, the third movie, I got the giggles, and they literally had to cut and take a 10-minute break because I could not pull it together. So I'm very professional, clearly.
Donna? Donna, how do you stay into character?
Well, I just know that when the camera's rolling is one world, and when the camera's not rolling, it's another world. It's another, you know, I mean, you know, I had to portray a woman who was mean to Brec, to Dawn, and 2 seconds before they call action, we're goofing around, we're talking, and she's the sweetest, nicest girl in the world. So, you just have to turn on your acting hat and do it. But, you can have fun on the set. It's okay, Brec.
I do too much.
I know.
Anyone else?
Khobe got the giggles too, okay?
All the time.
Yeah.
I feel like the more you connect with, it's not about staying in character. I feel like sometimes I think the guy who's like walking around in the green room, like still, being all method, it can kind of be a little unapproachable. I think the better relation you have with your scene partner, the closer you are as friends, the more you understand each other, it makes it way easier to stay. I think it's more about connection rather than like staying in character. The more free you feel between action and cut is really dependent on how much you and your scene partner connect.
Wonderful. Thank you for having me. Great.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Cindy. And thank you so much to Donna, Jesse, Brec, Joey, and Khobe for being with us today. What an amazing conversation and a lot of fun. And thank you to all the press for attending today's event. And we apologize if we couldn't get to everyone's questions, but please feel free to email us if there's any special questions that you want to ask. Just a quick reminder that VC Andrews Dawn limited series premieres Saturday, July 8th at 8/7 Central, and parts 2 to 4 will premiere on subsequent Saturdays right after that, also at 8/7 Central. So thank you all, and thank you, and have a good day.
Thank you.
Bye, guys.
Yeah.